Welcome back to the Fit Minute Podcast, where we talk all things health, fitness, and lifestyle. I hope you enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Fit Minute Podcast, Fitness for Real People. I'm your host, Gabby Mazar, and on today's show, I have Brad Williams. He's a personal trainer, gym owner, and he is the host of the podcast, Over 40 Fitness Hacks. So welcome to the show today, Brad.
Yeah, awesome. Thanks for having me, Gabby.
Yeah, so this is something that's super relatable to a lot of people, especially people over 40 or nearing 40. So we can totally understand getting into your 40s and things happen and it's not the same as when you were in your 20s. So I love that you have a podcast that addresses that and addresses like life, right?
Yeah.
So I want to start a little bit first by, I want you to tell me a little bit about yourself and your history and who you are and why you decided to get into a podcast that addresses turning 40 and things that happen.
Yeah. So I've been a personal trainer, gym owner for the last 15 years here in Orange County, California. Currently in Huntington Beach, California. Grew up in Central California. My mom was a nurse. My dad was a doctor, so I was always kind of fitness minded and had that kind of lifestyle growing up. Didn't know I was going to end up doing that until after college and getting a business major. And then I want to open my own business, and I really passionate about health and wellness and helping other people. Thus, started the brick and mortar gym career. And then just doing business here in California is just tough. A lot of competition, laws, and such. And then COVID was just icing on the cake. So obviously a lot more people are pushing more into the online world, which I'd already started that, but now a lot of the business is coming from that. And a few years ago I started my podcast, and that was kind of always my personal training clients were always the kind of over 40, maybe even 50 and above, and just really enjoyed training them. Other trainers did the young athletes and different styles and stuff like that, but that was kind of my thing, and that's why I created my show, just to be more of the over 40. And my tagline is helping the over 40 crowd lose weight and fight the aging process, but without giving up their social life, because I'm real big on that as well. We all got to have fun and all that, but within reason. And here's all my little hacks I've discovered being 40 myself. And if a personal trainer is struggling to lose some weight, you can imagine the rest of the population. So I'm here to help, and as well as yourself. So
yeah, I'm very much the personal trainer, the person that loves to tell people like live reality, live realistically. Like you always see these people or these trainers or Instagram where these people look perfect and they have their six packs, abs, and you're like, how do they do it? Well, they probably don't love life. Like, I mean, let's be real. Like, you have to be perfect and on it all the time, unless you just genetically look like that. It's not realistic for most people to be perfect all the time. You have to still love what you do and enjoy exercise and enjoy a glass of wine here or there, or enjoy a piece of pizza. Like, it's okay to do those things. It's just, you just have to do things within reason. You can't eat a whole piece of pizza and drink 7 bottles of wine. Like,
yeah.
let's be real and realistic, and understanding that we are human, and there is a price to pay for doing one or the other. Either you're going to be really, really hungover, or you're going to gain
Yeah.
or weight, like, so we're human. We're all human, and even trainers, even your trainers are as well.
Yeah. And, having at one point I had 3 gyms, and my main source of income was actually not even clients. It was renting space to other trainers. So I got to see all walks of life. And the ones that hit that, category that you were mentioned, that's the perfect model bodies. And half of them are on stuff that, we don't need to talk about, but
Yep.
2, they are hardcore dieting and doing all this stuff, and 7 days a week, 2 times a day doing cardio, all this. They're the most, it works for them. But for me, they're the most boringest people on the planet. Yeah. So I'm more of the social. So I'd kind of, steer away from them and do my thing. And, you find who you vibe with the best. And that's kind of where I am. So
yeah. And if that's what you love, more power to you. More power to you. By all means, you go for it. I'm proud of you. I am not that person. I want to enjoy a bowl of pasta and a glass of wine, and then, do nothing sometimes, and still feel good about myself, and still be healthy and strong, and have that for most of my clients and be relatable to clients as well. You know, you have to be relatable to those people. And there is a trainer for those people. There is a trainer for the majority of people that, you know, are gonna not be in the gym 6 hours a day as well, you know?
Yeah, and that was the beauty of being the gym owner, and get to know all those trainers. I'd meet the clients first, due to my marketing efforts, and I would know who to put them with. More it's good for them too, but for me as the gym owner, I need to make sure this client sticks because that's where my source of income comes as well.
Right.
But so it was a perfect match for both sides.
Yeah.
So
So, in all of your time being a personal trainer, being a gym owner, you now started this over 40 fitness hacks. Can you tell me what are some of the most major fitness hacks that you've come about or that you think are most important that you talk about on your show?
yeah, so for mine, I'll start with kind of the most boring one that everyone hears all the time is need more protein. But more of like why you need more protein. In the personal training field, our main job is to build muscle. So our job is to build muscle efficiently so you don't get hurt, raise up your BMR, that's basal metabolic rate. And what that means is the more muscle you have, the more energy you're burning just at rest. So when you build up this muscle, say you're burning 1,500 calories a day if you were just to not leave your bed, after program of 3 to 4 months, you're building this muscle. Now you're hopefully burning 18 to 2,000 calories. That's kind of more of like my body size and maybe a little less for other people. But that's the whole point is now every day without doing anything else, you're
You're
burning
burning
more,
more
which is
calories.
helping you get to your thing. So then it then kind of stems with like, okay, well now the over 40 crowd, you know, it's harder to assimilate protein. The aging process is happening. It's fighting us. We need to get smarter. We need better sources of protein. So we can't just, in our 20s, we were all cheap and buying the whey protein concentrate. And half of us over 40 now have allergies to all this stuff. I know I do. So I can't even, my body can't even have whey anymore. I'll go into anaphylactic shock. Like, super not fair.
I
But
want to
it's a
not
learning
laugh at
lesson.
that. I'm like, I
Yeah.
want to not laugh. Why is it so true?
Well, I can laugh because it happened to me. But no, just finding better sources of protein. So for me, it was pea protein was the next, widely bioavailable, with the next bioavailable score that was good. It was cheap enough, and then getting something like isolate versus the concentrate. So it's more finely processed, easier for the body to take in, and thus you need, it doesn't take as much to get what you need out of it. And like I said, being over 40, you need to be more efficient with your choices. So, and that,
Definitely.
that's not to say to live off of protein shakes. That's just a supplement. And obviously, the more real food you eat, the better. And then not only that, but eating real food, you can help yourself with taking some digestive enzymes, especially if you're eating meat, that'll help break down that protein. So, just all my hacks are to just give that person just a little extra edge, and over time, you start seeing these trends working for you. And like we were talking about, not to get us to that men's fitness or women's fitness bodybuilder physique anymore. If you're wanting that, you got to go on a different show. That's
Yeah.
not what my thing's
Yeah.
about.
Definitely. You need to be on a bodybuilding show
Yeah.
because you're going to be on a whole different diet for that. You're going to be cutting a lot of things out of life. That
Yep.
is a very, very restrictive, very, very, very restrictive diet. Very, very regimented exercise program as well. Not
Yep.
not what I do.
Not what I do either.
No. What else you have for us? What other fitness hacks can you give us?
Yeah. So I've discovered fasting has been real good. You always got to throw out there, always check with your medical care provider, coach, because there's some conditions where you shouldn't be doing that. But if you are cleared, fasting is a great way, especially over 40, to just fight the system. Your body's fighting against you. This is one thing you can add. And, you kind of start with intermittent fasting, crunching down all your meals that you're eating within a time window that's shorter than what you were previously doing. So, you try to work with a, 10-hour eating window, then an 8-hour eating window if you're allowed to. And then I do a 6-hour eating window. And it gets real hard because I'm a 200-pound guy, and for my macros, I need, at least 200 grams of protein. That's what I've just discovered works well for my body. And within 6 hours, man, you got to be on point of when to eat all this to be able to even digest it and get all of it. So it's a little bit of work. Um, but it helps you, because now the rest of the 14 hours or 16 hours that you're fasting, your body has time to break this down, actually use it. Then when you wake up in the morning, you start getting into that fat burning mode. And especially if you can work out, before you eat, then you're just amplifying everything. So I've gotten real good at introducing that to my program and a lot of my over 40 clients. And then for some who want to take it a little bit further, doing the, once in a while, like once in a month, do a 36-hour fast to really get the benefits of fasting and seeing what it can do for you. I know since I started doing that, I did like a 4-month checkup on my blood work with my doctor. I, asked him if it was okay first, and he knew I knew what I was doing. So he cleared me. And just within 4 months, seeing how much better my potassium, magnesium, calcium was, my liver enzymes down, and I'm a social person, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
And having my liver enzymes go down that much just from adding this one little thing in, and my cholesterol levels, I do keto. It's not for everybody, but I do keto with the fasting, whatever you think of the keto diet. But with keto, your cholesterol just naturally goes up. But in our world, with the keto world, as long as your good cholesterol goes up with it, which mine was, you're fine. But to see both those numbers go down by 20%, and just in a 4-month period, just from integrating that longer fasting. So, real excited about, telling people about that. But it is something you got to work up to and make sure you're working with your, your medical professional.
Yeah.
So
Me personally, that I don't think that's in my future.
yeah. And that's
Not
the
for
thing,
me.
I'm and my whole thing too, just being even a personal trainer, is I'm more of a lifestyle trainer than personal trainer. I like to have fun, enjoy life, not fitness isn't everything. But my thing is I'm willing to work with what anyone's got. Like, I know not every diet's for everybody, not every
Absolutely.
supplements for everybody. Like, and not everything. There's some things people refuse to give up, and I'm not that militant trainer that's going to make you do it. No, I take the path of least resistance.
And you have to
Let you
find
have that.
what works for somebody, because everybody's different. And one, if they're not willing to stick to something, then it doesn't work.
Mm-hmm.
And two, if it's not working, then you shouldn't stick with it. If you're on keto and it's not working, or you're not feeling well, or, you might be having heart palpitations or whatever it is. I'm throwing that out there. I'm not saying that
Mm-hmm.
happens, but, say it's whatever diet it is, and you're not feeling well, stop, do something different. There are so many different things you can do. You don't have to do just one thing. But I also want to caution people to be like serial dieters also. Like, don't just diet just to diet. Find something that actually is beneficial to lifestyle, to your life, to being happy and healthy, not because you're just trying to lose weight and your eyes on the prize and you just want to lose weight. Like, you want to be not focusing on I'm losing weight, I'm losing weight, I'm losing weight. You want to focus on, like, this is what's conducive to the happiness and health of my being, my overall being. I am the happiest here at this weight, in this space, exercising this much, eating this way, right? So you really have to think about how you put all of those things together, not just like dieting itself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is don't put yourself in the box like, well, this is what society told me I had to do, and I'm just going to stick with this. Well, there's nothing wrong with going out and venturing out and trying different things. And like you said, you may find out, oh no, this doesn't work for me, I don't feel great on that. That's fine. Keep going. My whole thing is discovery. Like, everyone just stops and accepts, what they have. This is my lifestyle, this is what I do. And and what they have desire to get better. Well, then you need to work at it. Go find these things, go listen to other people, go try new things. So my whole thing is never to preach one thing. It's let's find what makes you happy, like you were just saying. And I'm the personal trainer that's done every diet, I've taken every supplement, I've done everything. So it's, I like to consider myself a wealth of knowledge, because at least I've got the experience and some of that stuff to help you.
Right.
So
Yeah, exactly. I've done it. I've done it. I've tried it. There are things I definitely don't like. There are things that I will absolutely caution clients not to do. But if I would say, like, if someone comes to me and says, "What do you think about this?" I will tell you, this is my experience with it. This is my experience with other clients with it. This is what, what I suggest. Move forward. Move
yeah.
forward, young Jedi. I don't know. I don't know.
Love it.
But if they feel and have consulted with a doctor and a doctor says whatever is fine with them as well, absolutely. I mean, I am all for it. I want my clients to be successful as possible and be happy and healthy. Like that's your goal, right? Your goal is to have people like be the happiest they can be. And I've seen clients go on these restrictive diets and crazy diets and just be miserable. And you're like, why are you doing this? Why? What is the point? Like, I've had clients break down and cry in front of me because they're so miserable what they're eating. I'm like, this seems terrible. Like, why are you
Yeah.
doing like why? I don't want to be that person. Like, this is
Yeah. This
life.
is no different than, I want to do something in fitness, but I hate lifting weights or I hate doing this. So don't. There's a million other things you
A
can do. And I
million
promise
other
you,
things.
one of them you're going to like.
A million, absolutely. You are 100% correct. There are so many different forms of exercise that you could do, and you don't have to do just one thing. I just had this conversation actually this morning about that, and one of my friends was telling me she came and did Pilates for the first time with me, and she was telling me, she's like, I just love it. It's so different because, I lift weights. And she's like, it's great. I love it, but it's not the same. It's not the same at all. Pilates is totally different. It's like a dance while you're lying down. And I was like, it is, isn't it? It's like you're dancing. And it's like it's something totally different. There's so many different modalities. There's so many different types of exercise that you can do that you should try different things and find one that you love and that you'll stick with. Try the Peloton, try hiking, try CrossFit, try I don't know, Orange Theory, try them all and see which one you love and that you'll continue doing for the rest of your life or
Yeah.
until you can't do it anymore, right?
Yeah. Or,
Because
or you
that's
may or you may want to change. You don't have to give up your main thing, but just adding in something new. Like
right.
for myself, I started going to this new high tech gym, and just with the flash and all these computer systems running and all the high tech equipment they have, it like lured me in and is keeping me motivated. I could do all the same stuff in my own gym, but even trainers need trainers. Like
Oh yeah.
I
I
just
don't
I just need some place to go, a new group. I'm the king of my castle over there, but it's good to get out somewhere else and meet new people. And it's actually like 30 minutes away, which I'm typically don't drive more than 5 minutes anywhere. But it's gotten me to go outside my box and I enjoy the drive and listening to podcasts and I go do my thing and come back. But hey, who knows how long this will go for? But for now, it's like it's giving me the little, New Year's push to kind of get me going again.
are you finding more people this New Year's than ever?
For me, traditionally, like personal training, I'm sure you know too. Maybe Pilates is a little bit better, but for us, private gyms, we are pretty steady throughout the year, and it's not a huge influx ever because we usually get the diehards that have done all that stuff and they want, we're serious, so they come to us, and it could be any month. It's more always the change gyms are always get the New Year's rush, and then there was a term for it. Someone just told me the other day. There's like a funny term for it, and they're using it on social media. But after New Year's and within 20 days, that's the mark where everyone quits.
Yeah,
But
it's true. It's true. Like it's like 50% of people after the first month never go back.
yeah,
It's funny because like we do have our diehards and pretty much we stay pretty consistent throughout the year. But for some reason this year, I don't it was like a mad rush. Like
wow.
everybody's knocking down our door. I don't know what it is. Like everybody wants to get into Pilates this year. I don't know. I mean, we do personal training and I do stretch therapy as well. So I have a couple personal trainers and have teachers that teach private Pilates as well. So we do classes and we have privates and we have personal training and like classes, other classes as well, like TRX classes and weight training classes. But I feel like people are just knocking down the door like I've never seen before.
Well,
And
I,
usually usually it's not like that, because exactly the same as you with personal training and being in the private sector, like private industry, and having people come in, it's like, okay, you might have a couple, and then you stay
Yeah,
pretty
little
consistent throughout the
spike.
day, then you get a couple more, and no big deal. But I don't know, it's been very
It's
interesting this year.
Yeah, it's got to be just because of COVID. You know how there's always like new variants that come out during the winter just because it's normal cold season,
Mhm.
and everyone's all worried of what's going to get shut down and all that. And I think last year, not too much stuff. I mean, there were spikes in COVID, but there wasn't any shutdowns or anything. So people, all right, let's wait. And then now this year they know for sure nothing's going to happen. So now they're all flowing out. So that's kind of what I'm thinking.
I think I've seen a huge shift personally. I've seen a huge shift in people, uh, one, that are more concerned about their health, and two, that are wanting more small gyms and more private, like small classes and more private sessions, um, more than I've ever seen. I mean, I've been in this industry 15 years, and I don't think I've ever seen this amount of people that are as concerned about just overall health, and that want that small group atmosphere. I think like that larger group, like the, beach body, not beach body, but like the fit body boot camps and the
Hmm.
burn boot camps and all that, with like 50, 60 people in a class, was growing. And I've seen just a huge spike in just the people wanting that small group.
Yeah,
We don't do more than 7 or 8 people in a class. So I really feel that people like that
yeah.
attention, and really are feeling, we want to get healthy
Yeah. Well,
more
it's
than
good to see
ever.
because that's our sector. We were watching like you said, the burn body, the fit body, and then Orange Theory, I think was like number one. And I think like everyone's like, nah, I'd rather just do smaller, more private settings, and usually more experienced people go to the private sectors too.
Yeah,
So it's good seeing that like, it's kind of shifting a little bit back in our favor now.
I think so. I have always felt like it's always worried me in those larger groups, and not to say that they don't serve a purpose, because I definitely think they
Hmm.
do, but I've always wanted the smaller group, because I personally, as a trainer, don't feel that I can give the attention that I need to give to each individual person. And your goal as a trainer and your goal as a coach is to make sure that your clients are working to the best of their ability and not getting hurt. So if it's safe and it's effective and that they're having fun, you're giving them the best of you. So it always worried me, even having 10 people or more, 15 people or more, 20 people or more. I was like, I just don't love this. I personally never loved it. I didn't like working in groups like that or training groups like that, because it just was never my thing. So I always kept my groups under 10, even if I did boot camps. And I think that people are really seeing that. They're really seeing that that personal attention is a lot more effective.
Yeah. Yeah. My bread and butter was semi private. So, you get the individualized program that works for you. So, not everyone's going to be doing the same thing, but I will be training 3 to 4 people, maybe
Yeah.
five sometimes. But it's just enough that, I can make sure everyone's doing perfect form where I'm not getting lost in the sea of 20 people. And then thus I can break down the cost a little bit for everyone because at the time I started, just training sessions were 80, 90, 100 a session. Is just too much with after 2008. So that's always been my thing, and did well with it. Just
Yeah,
found my niche.
my semi-private business kind of took a tank during COVID.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah,
just
that's the other.
I haven't been able to build it back up, so I just went back to privates and small groups. So that seems to be doing better for us. But so you have your podcast.
Hmm.
Tell me some fun guests that you've had on your podcast that you really liked on your podcast that you want to share.
Yeah, so like I've had one of them really taught me a lot. His name was Tim Kelly. His company was like a press company, like newspaper press type things. I guess
Polytope Press.
Polytope Press. Yeah.
Mhm.
Did you have him on your show?
Yeah, he lives just down the street from me.
Oh, he does. Oh,
Yeah.
very cool. Then you can tell him I raved about him, and I still do. But he taught me a lot about not just macros, which was our world of carbs, fats, and proteins, but really looking at your micros. So your potassium, calcium, magnesium, vitamins, and all that kind of stuff. And the real one that was fun, and I always try to challenge people, is check out your micros. Just look up all the RDAs for everything. You can start there, or have your doctor print you out something, and go to this website called eatthismuch.com, because it literally, like, you just put carrots or cooked carrots, it'll literally give you every single thing, micros on there in existence for that one product, cooked or non-cooked, because it does change when you cook certain vegetables or meats. And add those up, make yourself a big chart, and put all your vitamins and your minerals, like I said. And Tim Kelly told me, like, the number one thing that would be on there would be a potassium deficiency. And holy crap, he was right. That was by far the one that was the farthest off, low, and sodium the highest. So really just executing on that. And you really got to be careful of potassium, how much you take in, and it's better just to get it from natural foods, because that could start giving you like heart palpitations and
Mhm.
stuff. So really watch that one, talk to your doctor. But start with RDA and gently get up to some of those levels, and your body just starts working better. Your workouts are better because it conducts all the electricity through your body, your your electrolyte balance. And for me, just watching my blood pressure, I've always had genetically high blood pressure. Thank you, Dad. To watch that in just 3 months, just go right back down to like a 20-year-old. I'm like, oh my God, look at that. So as a trainer, only worried about fat, carbs, and protein. No, after 40, you got to step up your game, everyone. Start looking at all this stuff. So
Yep.
he was fun. And then I had another one, Dr. Ann Griffin. She was a chiropractor, but really created a method of like an interviewing method. I'm trying to remember the name of her company. I apologize, Dr. Griffin, but her thing was more of a checklist of really diving deep of why you're having your, usually for pain, like why you're having your pain. Instead of just blanket, oh, your MRI says this, you must have this. No, she goes through a series of long questions, and it could be, nerve damage, muscle pain, something with your tendons, but it was something that she did this method, and she can give it to every doctor out there, every chiropractor out there, every personal trainer out there who wanted to learn how to do it. And just helping me out with my lower back, because I've had a little lower back injury from moving heavy equipment and had a little accident. But just the mindset of that was, she was a real cool guest. So those are kind of like the top two that I have right now.
That's fun. I love it. I love that there are people out there that know, they're so knowledgeable about things that you know but don't know, you know?
Yeah.
Does that
But
make
that,
sense?
yeah. But that's the beauty of, like, since doing this podcast, and I'm sure you can attest to it too, like, you're meeting people outside of your local community. I'm meeting people in like different continents,
All
and
over the world,
everything
yeah.
is, everyone thinks differently too. And I'm trying to grab every bit of information. And that's what I implore all the audience listening to do. Just keep gaining knowledge. Not everything is taught, for me, a Long Beach State kinesiology class or anything like that. Is, there's other stuff out there and other experts out there. And it's just, fulfilling.
Yeah, and you learn so much about other people's process of how they do things and why they do things with their clients and or with their patients, and how you can use it to your ability and to teach your clients as well. So I love that you can relate that to them too. And you can relate like a potassium deficiency. Like most people are vitamin D deficient as well, which you don't, nobody thinks about. Like here in Arizona or in California, like we're in the sun
Yep.
all the time. How is that possible? Well, you don't get all of your vitamin D from the sun. And most people in Arizona, especially in the summer, don't stand outside
No.
because it's 175 degrees, So it's very interesting that you can find out all these things, and even though you know things, you talk to somebody else and hear it from somebody else's mouth and you're like, "Oh, yeah, cool. I love that." So, other people's experiences are really enlightening, and I just love to hear that from people. But so
Yeah.
your podcast, Over 40 Fitness Hacks, you can find you anywhere, Apple, Google, whatever. You have a website as well.
Yeah, it's www.over40fitnesshacks.com. Make it real simple. And it's 40 instead of spelled out.
Okay. Do you have anything else that you would like to leave our listeners with today? Any tips or tricks or anything fun or interesting?
Yeah, just it's a brand new year. I always hate to, push the you gotta do your New Year's resolutions, but it is a thing. And if that's what I need to inspire someone to get going, then right now it's January, I'm gonna use it. So, start making changes and do it, step by step, just little simple things. And it's good to have a sense of accountability, like, get a trainer, get an online coach, or just sign up for something and sign up for a longer package than you normally think you would. That way it'll hold you accountable to doing something. But all of us need a little push. We can't just do it on our own. That's just, how human interaction works. So
Yep. Taking action. That's it.
that's it,
You
baby.
don't intrinsically have motivation. You have to take action. Yep. Well, Brad, thank you so much for coming on the show. I super appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for having me, Gabby.
You're welcome. And thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you all next week.